So, I never really talked a lot about uh myself like as a person. It was on the channel, or I just kind of, it was always like surface level things. You know, I guess movies I liked, games I liked. Obviously, I played games I liked, um, but nothing particularly substantial. So, I've been to college 3 times. Um, Left, didn't finish 3 times. Um, I've got a lot of credits though. I just was mostly never interested in it, I guess. I There were classes I liked each year. I could never quite figure out what I wanted to do, I guess. But for the time that I was born, for the time that I was like born, people my age were always told, we were college was advertised to us on, on our the idea of going to college. It was just, the thing you were going to do when you graduated high school. It was not you didn't want to be like the janitor, so you had to go to college. You have to. So I did, and I never really figured out what I wanted to do. There was a point a few years ago where I realized I probably could have been oh, there's a camera, an English teacher, because I, specifically in like a foreign country, because I like grammar structure, and I'm interested in linguistics and things like that. So I would have been interested in like teaching English in a foreign country. But I realized that far too late. Just didn't happen. But I did a bunch of different things. I was in a bunch of different majors in college. So the first time I went, I wanted to make video games. I was very young and I didn't have a lot of the context and knowledge that I have now. So I wanted to make video games, but I didn't understand programming. The first class I took was for like C+, and I just couldn't get it, didn't understand it. And it was very difficult for me to comprehend. So I dropped that and went and switched to English instead, which was interesting for a time. I got pretty far with it, but in my third year, I ended up having to take courses, I should say, that really didn't interest me. Even the ones that were related to my major. In fact, there were a few classes I took that were unrelated to my major. So one was for Photoshop, which I really liked. That was very fun. Once I had transferred, I transferred to a different campus at some point to continue my major, and this was one I had to live at. Where I started, I could go home every day and live at home, but what is happening? The one I transferred to, I had to live at, and I did not do well there at all. I was very lonely, and I didn't have a lot else going on other than my classes, which I ended up ignoring because I would go out, to get food or whatever, walk around classes, and I'd constantly see people, grouped together, and friends talking and laughing, and I'd overhear conversations of, parties or campus events, and like what was going on and who would be there, and those sorts of things. And I just not participating in any of that just made me feel really bad. And I developed a lot of anxiety. This is hard to talk about. Eventually I only would go out to get food. In fact, I'd eat only once a day. I would just not eat like all day. I would just stay in and you know, play video games or watch YouTube or whatever. And I would go out like towards the end of the night and get a whole bunch of food and just eat. And that was kind of what I did until I forget exactly when I went home, but I don't think I finished the year. No, I definitely didn't, because I dropped out and went home. And so tried again that same year in the fall, you know, start of the year, school year, at a different school that was smaller. Yeah, switched majors again to journalism. And kind of the same thing. In fact, in a way, that place was worse because, so it was smaller, which made getting around easier, but it was almost worse because, oh, I see, because the way the housing worked for someone in my year was you didn't get a dorm room. You got a kind of apartment style thing. So, and where you would, oh, just drop this, where you would live with, you know, a couple other people, and the particular one that I was in, there were 3 bedrooms. 2 of the bedrooms were doubles, and one of them was the single. By some miracle, or just people sensing, the other guys that living with me sensing that I feel that they got the sense that I should be given the single room. And so I was, you know, they'd have parties. So rather than rather than just hearing about parties, I had to hear parties themselves sometimes with people outside my room, like, you know, having fun and socializing. And to be honest, that sort of stuff has never clicked with me. I guess I don't know. It's not my kind of scene. Is this? Oh, I see. You can just really. All right. That place was almost worse. I almost immediately just stopped going to classes. And the emails about, you know, oh, your grades are not doing well, you need to come talk to me. Those did not help. I still had a lot of anxiety. In fact, I think I was medicated at that point, for the anxiety, which kind of helped, but it didn't bring the motivation to complete my coursework or go to my classes. All it did was make me stop panicking when I was out in crowds trying to get food, or you know, I mean, that's primarily the only time I ever left. So that's really all it accomplished, was I just felt a little better about doing those sorts of things, but it didn't make me want to go to my classes. I still just was entirely disinterested. What is going on? Oh, I have to, I know, I remember. This game is great. You get to, I love this. Yeah, did not do well there. I think I ended up getting really sick. Really, really sick during late winter. So I missed my midterms entirely. Not that I would have been able to do anything, you know, with my tests, because I wouldn't have, or assignments, because I didn't go to class all year. So I just ended up going home and dropping out again because, basically for the same reasons. I couldn't do it. The anxiety was very bad. It was very bad. I remember there were some points. There were some points where I felt so out of place. I think college is probably, for me, I've never felt more out of place somewhere ever, than when I was at college. Just the way everyone was there, I really felt like I wouldn't fit in. And I never really did. I just didn't want to go anywhere. I just always wanted to stay, you know, somewhere safe. Being out made me feel very nervous, and being around other people made me feel very nervous. You know, people I didn't know. And so, yeah, it was bad both times. And after the second college, I tried. I somehow got into a relationship, and that went on for a bit. And during that relationship, I went back to college for a third time, where I was kind of doing the same thing. So like it's very. I really shouldn't have done that, obviously. Oh, I need to plug these in. I really shouldn't have done that, but you know, I really thought that I was better. And I was, you know, or at least I felt better about myself at the time. Being in, you know, even a half decent relationship, I think will tend to have that effect. However, the issue was really just I didn't know what I wanted to do. I think I tried film that time. And it overall just, you know, the same things happened. It was I was unmotivated to go to classes, so I didn't. I need this last. Hold on. Oh, it's right here. I didn't go to classes, and ultimately I didn't finish then because I couldn't get financing for school. Couldn't get any more financing. Shocker. So I dropped out third time, and have not been back since. Yeah, that was the worst. That was the worst anxiety I've ever felt in my life, was being at college on my own, just surrounded by people that seemed like they had been given some sort of instructions or guidelines that I didn't get. And that made it really difficult for me to want to go out anywhere and see them. I remember there was one course that I had. I sat down one day. What am I supposed to be doing right now? A girl came and sat down next to me, and she made a comment about my jacket, or complimented it. I can't remember exactly. I think she complimented it, and it was not a nice jacket, but she complimented it, and I never went to that class again because I just couldn't like deal with it. And I still remember that this must have been like 10 years ago. I still remember that.